Welcome into Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. I'm Meghan Payton. We've got Week 15 overreactions for you guys today, but I need your help on a competition that I have with our Chiefs host, Harrison Graham. We have a little bet going on who can get the most subscribers this week. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm asking you guys, come on, help me out. Let's beat Harrison Graham and the Chiefs channel. Go right now, subscribe to Steelers Talk. Go to youtube.com/Steelers TV. Press the big red button. I'd really like to throw it in his face that Steelers are better than the Chiefs. So in typical Steelers fashion, they come up with a win. It wasn't pretty, but got the job done. The playoff hopes are still alive, but they are, slim. It's going to be difficult, but I think that they can do it. Now we, as always, go into our Week 15 overreactions, but this game was an interesting one because we've said this before, but the first half, it was essentially nothing for the Steelers, and they end up winning. I think obviously a lot of this had to do with the turnovers. If you missed our recap video, we'll put it in the description and in the comments. So go make sure to check this out because it is Victory Monday and we are talking overreactions. The first one for this week is that the Steelers are making it to the playoffs. These are typically the reactions that we see as we get closer to the end of the season. And I like the positive hope. I like you guys, shifting gears a little bit. It felt a bit negative for a few weeks there. I feel like we're on a good track, and I think that the Steelers are headed in the right direction. So am I saying that they're guaranteed going to make the playoffs? No, guys, I am not, but I'm also saying that it is very likely. I think that they absolutely can. And with a loss to the Titans, get this, Brooke Pryor, who covers the Steelers for ESPN, she said with a loss to the Titans, the Steelers playoff hopes would have dropped to 3%. With the win, they're up to 18%. That's a big difference. We start looking at percentages and how likely it is. If the Steelers would have lost on Sunday, 3% you can pretty much say is nothing. You're not getting in. So the 18% is more realistic. They are still in the hunt, though, meaning if the playoffs were today, they would not be in it. But they are so close right now to the Bills, to the Chargers, and to the Colts. You see their records right there. They are all three sitting at 8-6. Pittsburgh right now, 7-6-1. That tiebreaker, man, I swear, I just hope that it helps them in a positive way and not a negative way. And so this is where you start to think about the question of, can the Steelers control their own destiny? Meaning, is it up to them to make it to the playoffs, or are they going to need some luck? Now, from my understanding and from what it looks like, the Steelers can essentially control whether or not they make it to the playoffs, but that's easier said than done. By controlling it, they would need to win out, and they do have some difficult games coming up. They've got two divisional games in here. They've got the Chiefs this week, as we mentioned earlier in this video. That's going to be a hard one. Chiefs are on a good kind of winning streak right now, going up against Patrick Mahomes. I do think that the Steelers can do it, but if they want to control their chances of making it to the playoffs and not really have to worry about luck of other teams, they need to win these 3 games. Of course, we'll break this down as we get sooner into the week, but I am asking you guys, our pinned comment for today is, what is your confidence level that the Steelers will make the playoffs? We are scaling this 1 to 100. So be honest, get your thoughts in. If you get the ad break here, you know the drill. You go in, you leave your votes, you let me know what you think. Alrighty, moving on to our next overreaction on Monday is that the tackling issues are fixed. Again, I do love the optimism out of you guys, but the tackling issues are not fixed. There are still a lot of work to be done. You can't have a first half like you did against the Titans and say tackling's not an issue. Derrick Henry didn't even play in this game. He's injured. You had Deontay Foreman, who rushed over 100 yards. He had 108 yards on Sunday, 22 carries, an average of 4.9. Now, no touchdowns. And I'm not saying that this is terrible, and maybe it's a little bit better than what they've done in the past, but it still needs to be improved. The Steelers' rushing yards allowed has been an issue for them, especially these last few weeks. You look at what they did against the Vikings, 242 yards Dalvin Cook had against the Steelers defense. It was that's bad. I mean, the 107 against the Ravens, that's a little bit better. Bengals 198 and Chargers 159. It's hard to win games if you allow running backs to completely, break through all of your guys. Now, they did get lucky with some good turnovers, and I think that normally has a bigger impact on winning games. But this is something that the Steelers are going to need to improve on if they want a chance at making the playoffs and staying in the playoffs. All right, guys, we're shifting gears for a second so I can tell you about a great deal going on over at Fanatics. This is the Steelers sales section. So if you go to chatsports.com/Steelers sale, you can get a ton of different Steelers gear up to 50% off. I've told you guys this before, this Erin Andrews line. I love it. Get it for any girl in your life, whether it's your mom, sister, girlfriend, wife. I don't care. I love the scarf glove combo. I think that's great. I know it's chilly up in Pittsburgh. The Darius Rucker vest is half off, originally $79.99. It is now like $45 or something. They've got fuzzy socks. Make sure you go, if it's not holiday shopping, make sure you just get it for yourself. Let's celebrate the Steelers. Chatsports.com/Steelers sale. All right, back to our overreactions on this Victory Monday. The third one is that Matt Canada is to blame for issues on offense. Now, with the win, we still have to talk about some of the issues that occurred on Sunday, and one of those was the way that this offense is running. They did not look great on Sunday, and I think Matt Canada definitely deserves some blame. How can he not? He's calling the offensive plays, and the plays are very questionable, in my opinion. Some of those third down calls, some of the ways that they're using Najee Harris doesn't seem right. Now I'm not going to sit here and say that I or you guys know so much more than Matt Canada. We are not going to be unrealistic, but I do think that they need to get a better rhythm going. This offense doesn't look consistent. Obviously, you've got a quarterback that's probably going to be retiring soon. Juju's out for the season. You've got issues with Chase Claypool. Use Deontay Johnson better. Use Najee Harris better. You've got a struggling offensive line. So I do blame Matt Canada, but I also know that he's working with what he's got. I think that there can be better third down calls, but I ultimately think that they need to relook at this offense during the offseason, especially with the offensive line. All right, our next overreaction is still on the coaching side of things. Bad clock management by Mike Tomlin. Now, Mike Tomlin took a lot of heat after the first half, and luckily the Steelers won, because if they didn't, I think Mike Tomlin would have been hearing about this a little bit more. He did not use a timeout at the end of the half when they needed to. The Titans were about to score. I think that there was just a lot of people upset with the way that he utilized the time management, did not take the timeout. Therefore, Chris Boswell, when they do get the ball back, they've lost like a minute of time. He has to attempt a 56-yard field goal, which, I mean, Chris Boswell's great, but that's a pretty much impossible field goal to make. So I understand everyone's frustration with Mike Tomlin. I do think that it was kind of interesting. He was asked about it, and this is what his response was. He said, "I was more concerned with stopping them than I was with creating a drive opportunity for us. I wanted them to make decisions on going from second down to third down on time unless they burn one of their timeouts. They chose not to, so the clock ran." Now, we talk about Chris Boswell having to now put up this 56-yard field goal. Now, I think Chris Boswell's great, but I don't put any of the blame on him for that miss. It's a 56-yarder. I do question Mike Tomlin, though, and I know he's a defensive coach, so I think you still need to be thinking about your team scoring. You still want to, if you're in the first half, you know it hasn't been looking great. You've got to go in the mindset of, hey, we're stopping the Titans, but we are also getting the ball back and we are going to score. He did not leave Boswell enough time, or he didn't leave the offense enough time to get down the field to make an easier kick for Chris Boswell. So instead of grading a player in this video, we are actually going to grade head coach Mike Tomlin on his week 15 coaching. So we are going to scale this A, B, C, D, or F. Go to the comments and grade Mike Tomlin. All right, our last overreaction on Victory Monday is that Joe Haden deserves the game ball. It was great to see Haden back out there. If you missed it, you haven't seen him. You forgot about him. He's been out for a while dealing with a foot injury. He was back and he had the game-winning tackle. And so I think that he deserves one of the game balls without a doubt. There's a lot of guys that deserve a game ball in this game. I'd say TJ Watt, Cam Heyward, Minkah Fitzpatrick looked good, but Joe Haden, great to see him back. It was the first time he returned since getting injured in week 10. He's been dealing with that foot injury. And he made the game-winning tackle in week 15 versus the Titans. It was really cool the way that he was able to shut down the Titans when, in reality, if they would have gotten that first down, it would have maybe looked a lot different. So we look at what he's done in 2021. As we said, he's missed a few weeks with that foot injury, but quarterbacks have had a 57.6 completion percentage on him. He's had 24 tackles this year, 5 pass breakups, no interceptions, but a really good game in week 15. I'm excited that he is back. Again, he's one of the guys I would give a game ball to. But my final question for you guys on today's show is, who deserves the week 15 game ball? Go right now to the comments and let me know what you think.